Hello everybody and welcome to Colleen's Craft Corner. Today we are going to be making face masks. They will look like this. They stretch out. There's a wire on the top so it fits around your nose. And there's a pocket in the back for an optional filter. The strings tie on your face. What you will need is 2 different colored fabrics, one for the front, one for the back, a sewing machine or a needle and thread, where someone did ask if you could do it with a hot glue gun, which you absolutely could. Then you will also need ribbon, and optionally, you can use a coffee filter or interfacing or a shop towel of some kind as an extra filter layer in the mask. Here I've got my supplies. The first thing you're going to do is cut your fabric. Whatever fabric you want to be in the front, you want to cut into a 9x7 rectangle. For the back, you want to cut 2 pieces into 9x8 rectangles. Then you want to get ribbon and cut 4 pieces that are around 18 inches long. It can be longer or shorter depending on the size of the head you're making the mask for. Next, you want to take your back pieces and fold them in half lengthwise. So these should be 9x4. You should iron them so that the creases are nice and flat. If your fabric starts out wrinkly in any way, you should iron it, and you should always wash your fabric before you use it. Now, optionally, if you want to add in a filter, this is a shop towel, which I read an article that these make good filters inside your mask. You could also use a coffee filter or interfacing. So I've cut this to be 9x7, so it's the same size as my front piece of fabric. Now we want to get ready to sew. So I'm going to put the interfacing piece down first, and then put my front piece on top, facing up, very important. Now you're going to take your ribbon, and you're going to place it in the corner. Facing in. Put this with the fold towards the center on top. Then I would take some pins and pin the corners because you want to make sure that your ribbon stays in the corner. Then pull your ribbon pieces out. Do the next 2 corners. The next back piece, make sure the fold is going towards the inside. It's very important that your ribbons are coming out of this hole, or else you might accidentally sew them into the seams. I'm going to put some more pins. Hold down these sides. So you can see I've pinned all my fabric together. Got my interfacing piece on the back. The 2 back pieces, the ribbons are sticking out. You can see the front piece inside. This is the mask inside out. So you want to make sure whatever you want to be facing out is currently facing in. And then we're going to sew around the edges. You want to do around a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now you can also hand stitch this. If you wanted to hot glue it, I would recommend not doing it inside out. At that point, I would just glue it right side out together and glue the sides together. So I'm just doing a regular straight stitch. Make sure you back stitch when you start and when you end. And make sure you turn the sewing machine on. Turn it. Do the other side. Cut off thread. So here you can see, sewed it all the way around. I'm going to take my fabric scissors and I'm going to trim. I like to cut off the corners so that there's not as much bulk. Trim off a little bit of extra fabric on the sides. Now we're going to turn it right side out. The next step, we want to add the nose wire. So you could use an actual piece of wire, or a twist tie works really well. I'm just going to make sure that the twist tie is nice and straight and not twisted. I'm going to flip my mask over. Decide whatever side you want to be the top. So I'm going to have this be the top. I'm going to take my flattened twist tie, put it inside, put it all the way up to the top, and make sure it is centered. You're pushing it up all the way up to the seam. Flip it over so I can feel it there. I'm going to take some pins, just put them like right here so that it stays in place. Okay. Now I'm going to sew that. I'm going to find where the end is. So I want to be right next to it. trim my threads. Okay, so we've got our nose wire in there. You can see that can bend. Now we've got to make our pleats. I have 2 to 3 pleats. Just fold down like that. I'm going to take my pins. Pin it in place. Another one. Got my pins. You can see I've just folded it to make pleats. Come back to the sewing machine. I'm going to go right up against the edge. So you're just sewing the pleats in place. Be careful, because that's a lot of fabric. So your sewing machine might not like it. So you might have to push it a little bit. I'll do the other. And there's my mask. So the pleats on one side. Got a nose wire here. There's a pocket for an extra filter. You take a coffee filter, fold it in half. Put it inside. Finishing touches. You're going to want to knot the ends of your ribbon so they don't unravel. You could also sew them if you wanted. Knotting is pretty easy. And there you go. It's pretty easy. I smiled, but you couldn't see me. And that's how you make a mask. Make sure you wash it before you use it. After you wash it, you're going to need to iron it so the pleats go back into place because it'll be all stretched out. And then you want to wash it after you use it every time. That's the whole point, to keep it clean, keep you clean. When you put it on, you're going to make sure the bottom goes over your chin. You want to make sure the wire goes tight against your nose so it's flush on your face. Pretty easy project. You can use fun fabric. I use this fun Timon and Pumbaa Lion King fabric. Show my Disney love during this weird alternate timeline that we live in now. If you have any questions, let me know. You can email me at Colleen at WDWNT.com. Send me pictures if you make a mask, and I'd love to see it. Thank you. Have a great day.